corresponding. So you can see that similar or something that have close similarity. And returning with their corresponding facial expressions. So emotions and the same facial expressions. So it means that if we are happy, we have one facial expression, and if we are angry, we have another facial expression. So emotions are connected with facial expressions. So corresponding is like the same, similar, they're connected. Returning to our question, so corresponding means
I think it's the related.
Related. That's right, so it's D. Let's move to the next question. 5. Let's read it.
Why don't most people have memories for what happened before they were 3 years ago?
Of
A.
age.
Age. A. The prefrontal cortex is not developed at this stage. B. Early memories disappeared soon after they formed. C. The part of the brain that forms memory is not fully developed at this stage. D. After the year 3, children tend to forget emotional memories.
So what's your decision? Which answer the correct one? Let's find it here.
I think it's A.
We need to reread this part. So let's try to reread it.
People's earliest memory reached back to about age 3 or so. Very few people recall anything before this time because the part of the brain that helps form long-term memories, the
hippocampus
was not yet matured or fully developed. This doesn't mean earlier memory don't exist in your mind.
Though.
In your mind. Though, some scientists believe highly emotional memories, especially those associated with intense fear, might be stored in another structure in the brain, the amygdala. That may be functional at birth. Though these memories are not accessible to conscious mind, they might still influence the way we feel and behave even into adulthood.
Adulthood. So the main idea of this part, try to summarize it.
It means the first memory is actually the people's earliest memory is in the age of 3. Before, it doesn't mean people don't have memory. It's just because the hippocampus
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't grow enough actually, and but uh, really this is the memory. You have memory, but just can't remember too much
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
Some scientists think uh, sometimes maybe like in a very maybe feel scared or something, and people will have the memory
Mm-hmm.
and uh and just will have the highly maybe sometimes just like this and had highly emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe sometimes it will be in another place called amygdala, and
Mm-hmm.
this so although some maybe some although just some memory we can't remember, but just although it's in
Mm-hmm.
just to have this memory, but actually you can't remember it. It's just because the maybe the emotion or some things or feelings. Yes.
Now let's try to give the correct answer on this question.
Yes.
So why don't most people have memories of what happened before they were 3 years of age?
No.
It's
It's C.
C, that's right. The part of the brain that forms memory is not fully developed at this stage. So C is the correct answer here. Alright, now let's move to the next question, 6. Let's read it.
What is the activity centered from
Negative.
negative emotions?
Mm-hmm.
A. In the amygdala.
Mm-hmm.
B. In the hippocampus.
Mm-hmm.
C. The left prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm.
D. In the right prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm. Why? Let's find it.
So I think it's mm, uh,
It was written here. Try to find some evidence.
mm, but it's really possible control our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers uh,
Mm-hmm.
risk her Davidson has demonstrated that people who express negative
Experience.
or experience negative emotions display activity in the right prefrontal cortex.
Cortex.
Oh, so I see.
That's right. So they experience negative emotions in the right prefrontal cortex. And let's return here. So what is the activity center for negative emotions? Right prefrontal cortex. So you are absolutely right. You see that you remember this text very, very good. All right, and the last question.
Mm. According to researcher Richard Davidson,
Mm-hmm.
what helps people shift away from negative state of memory?
Mind.
A mind.
Mm-hmm.
A. Meditation and
Relaxation.
relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
B. Memory uh,
Attention.
retention
Techniques.
uh, techniques. C. Changing mm, factual expressions. B. Begin
Conscious.
conscious of and enduring emotions.
So, what is the correct answer?
I think it's I think it's A.
Why?
Because I remember there is just the scientists that just have actually to text let some people to work and when they have to relax and do some modi- modi- meditations and they will feel happy, but some people didn't do that. They won't feel happy, so I think is A.
So let's check this part. Let's try to reread it and try to find the answer here.
To answer the question, Davidson worked with a group of volunteers in the United States. One group received weeks of training using different meditations and
Meditation and relaxation
relaxation to
techniques.
news
Techniques.
techniques. While another group did not. By the end of study, those who had
Meditated
had accomplished their goal. They showed a clear shift in the brain activity toward the left, happier frontal
cortex.
Cortex.
So try to summarize this part.
So it means actually they have some volunteers. They have and they become two groups, and one is have some relaxation and meditation. Different meditation and relaxation. But another group did not, and at the end, they who had the group had meditations and had just had meditated, just seemed they are happier than other group.
Try to explain me in your own words the meaning of the word meditation. So, what is a meditation?
Meditation sometimes is think about something, such as think about something good, and just think of something, and at that time maybe some people will sit there, just like the picture.
So they are staying calm and silent here. Sorry. It's written below, they are staying silent and calm. So checking again, meditation. So here we can see it's mindfulness meditation or powerful benefits of meditation. So people are sitting silently, calmly, and they are thinking about the nature of their thoughts, or maybe about something else. They're asking some questions. Maybe some people are imagining that they're contacting with the God. So this is a meditation. And returning to our question,
Mm.
So, what helps people to shift away from a negative state of mind?
Mm.
And we see that the answer is meditation. And you were right. Alright, and now we can see on the right it's critical thinking. So let's read and answer these questions.
Okay. What example? What example of emotion associ association
Mm-hmm.
the mm, does the author
Mm-hmm.
mention?
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of any example from your own personal experience?
Mm-hmm. So do you remember what emotional association mentions the author?
I'm not sure. Remember.
Let's try to go through the text again. So try to find here some phrases about the emotional association.
Um,
You remember we read about the grass, that people
mm,
can have different emotions. It was here. Let's reread this part.
the human made shared certain emotions and recon, recon,
Nice. Recognize.
recognize recognize them in others. We don't all have the same emotional response to every situation. In fact, most emotional responses are learned and stored in our memories. The smell of Frizzle cuts
Fresh,
grass,
freshly.
or freshly. Mm.
For example, will generate.
For example, will generate happy feelings in someone who spent enjoyable childhood summers in the countryside,
Mhm,
but is in someone who was forced to work long hours on the farm.
mhm.
Mm.
So, what example do we see here?
And some people thought about cutting fresh grasses a happy childhood,
Mhm,
but some other people uh, think it's a happy thing,
mhm,
an unhappy thing, because they should work.
mhm. And can you think of some other examples of some things that one can feel positive emotions and another can feel negative emotions?
Mm,
Maybe swimming pool.
uh,
Sometimes swimming pool is associated with some vacations for one people, and if someone can't swim, he will have bad
uh,
associations of swimming pool. He will be afraid of swimming pool.
I have a classmate,
Mm-hmm.
and she is the same primary school with me, and we are classmates for 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she likes running very much.
Mm-hmm.
She always before the final test, and she or some big test, she always run for maybe
Nice.
many circles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, really, she likes running very much. She just like long running, but she don't like speed.
She doesn't like.
She can't run too fast.
Mm-hmm.
But she likes running for long way and time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but some people think, I'm tired. I don't want to go.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And now let's see the next question below. So, what do you think would be the benefits of a better understanding of the brain? So how can we understand our brain better?
Then our brain that's actually sometimes maybe some people will think it's the best thing to remember. But I think actually it's good because such as we can remember something we studied and it's a nice thing because we can get a high score.
Mm-hmm.
And actually sometimes we can control our emotions. That's and we can have the good maybe or we can have some friendships, more friendships maybe, and maybe we'll get on well with classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe like this. Mm.
All right. And I think we should make more experiments. Maybe we should, I don't know, take different food, taste it, or maybe we should do different activities. And then we should analyze our brain, the reaction of the brain on different activities. And maybe then we can understand it better. And by the way, do you know about the illness called Alzheimer? Have you heard about it?
No.
It's when old people begin to forget everything.
Oh, I know.
Alzheimer. So try to describe me. What do you know about this disease?
Mm.
Do
Just
you know someone?
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
says maybe the glasses is on your hand
Mm-hmm.
and but old people will forgot
Mm-hmm.
and they will think where's my glasses.
That's right. So, but glasses is not the most awful thing. The worst thing is when they forget about their children. Like here on the picture, you can see that maybe she forgot about her grandchildren or about her children. So
Mm.
that's a big problem when people they don't remember their family or they don't remember if they took medicine or not. So imagine that old people they should take medicines, pillows like every 2 hours, and they forget if they took it or not. So they can take more than they should, or they can take less medicine. So it's a very big problem. So here you can see that it's a disease. It starts slowly. Here, the disease. It starts slowly, and here you can see how the brain changes on the picture. Let's find maybe some videos about this disease, some short videos. And do you know someone who has this disease? Maybe your grandparents or grandparents of some of your friends.
I don't think so
Mm-hmm.
because my grandmother likes doing math, so she maybe is not easy to forget something.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. To avoid this illness, our brain should work. So it's very good when people are continuing their activities even when they are retired. So it's very good when they can study or teach someone, they can communicate with other people so that they could hold their brain in ongoing activity. Then I think they will not suffer from this disease.
Mm.
Let's see some short video from YouTube. You can watch maybe half of this video if this link is not opening. Alright, so while it's loading, let's see what do we have next. It's identifying definitions. Let's read the task.
Writers often take
Shelley? Potentially?
potentially unfamiliar vocabulary in the text.
Mhm.
This can be done in a
Variety?
variety of ways.
Mhm.
Sometimes definition follows words like is, are, means, is defined as, is called, and is a
Type of.
type of. It can also be sent apart by a parenthesis,
Mhm.
a dash of, or dishes,
Mhm.
dashes, blah blah, and
Comma?
comma or commas.
Mhm.
A definition may be proved within a text or at the end of a text, for example, as a footnote.
Mhm. So how do you understand what is a definition?
Sometimes maybe a writer will put some words or people didn't know, but we can use
Dementia
many
isn't technically a
ways.
disease, but more of a way to describe a set of
put on a
symptoms
pause.
like poor memory and difficulty learning new information, which can make it really hard to function.
So it's some explanation. Definition is some explanation of some words or facts when we are explaining their meaning. Now we'll try to watch this video. It's funny when you are opening one link, from one link you are on the next link, and you are on the next link. Oh yes, we are lucky. So try to listen to this video and then tell me the main idea.
In healthy people, all sensations, movements, thoughts, memories, and feelings are the result of signals that pass through billions of nerve cells or neurons in the brain. Neurons constantly communicate with each other through electrical charges that travel down axons, causing the release of chemicals across tiny gaps to neighboring neurons. Other cells in the brain, such as astrocytes and microglia, clear away debris and help keep neurons healthy. In a person with Alzheimer's disease, the most basic form of dementia, toxic changes in the brain destroy this healthy balance. These changes may occur years, even decades, before the first signs of dementia. Researchers believe that this process involves two proteins, called beta amyloid and tau, which somehow become toxic to the brain. It appears that abnormal tau accumulates, eventually forming tangles inside neurons. And beta amyloid clumps into plaques, which slowly build up between neurons. As the level of amyloid reaches a tipping point, there is a rapid spread of tau throughout the brain. But tau and beta amyloid may not be the only factors involved in Alzheimer's. Other changes that affect the brain may also play a role over time. the vascular system may fail to deliver sufficient blood and nutrients to the brain. The brain may lack the glucose needed to power its activity. Chronic inflammation sets in as microglial cells fail to clear away debris, and astrocytes react to distressed microglia. Eventually, neurons lose their ability to communicate. As neurons die, the brain shrinks, beginning in the hippocampus, a part of the brain important to learning and memory. People may begin to experience memory loss, impaired decision-making, and language problems. As more neurons die throughout the brain, a person with Alzheimer's gradually loses the ability to think, remember, make decisions, and function independently. Achieving a deeper understanding of the molecular and cellular mechanisms and how they may interact is vital to the development of effective therapies. Much progress has been made in identifying various underlying factors. Advances in brain imaging allow us to see the course of plaques and tangles in the living brain. Blood and fluid biomarkers are providing insights about when the disease starts and how it progresses. More is also known about the genetic underpinnings of the disease and how they can affect particular biological pathways. These advances enable the development and testing of promising new therapies, including drugs that reduce or clear the increase of tau and amyloid proteins in the brain, therapies targeting the vascular system, glucose metabolism, and inflammation, and lifestyle interventions like exercise or diet, and behavioral approaches like social engagement that may enhance brain health. Research is moving quickly, ever closer to the day when we can delay or even prevent the devastation of dementia.
So, the main idea?
It's about first, a healthy people. In the brain, there's many cells, and they connect with each other, so people can remember something very clearly. But when some people are old, their brain just began to forget because the cells didn't connect with each other, so they forgot. And when people were died and their brain began to shrink, so and the first part is about the memory and the study, so people is easy to forget. So as this scientists suggest, which when people are old, they should do more exercise and to just and eat some healthy food and to keep thinking.
That's right. Alright, now returning here. So definition is meaning of something, explanation. And let's try to make exercise A. So we need to complete the information with definitions from the box. So do you understand the meaning of all these words? ABC, short term, sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch.
What is layer?
Layer.
Layer.
It's better to show the pictures. A layer. So this is first layer, second layer, third layer, or here, layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like different parts.
Oh.
So this is called a layer. Layer. A sheet, quantity or thickness of material, typically one of several covering a surface or body. So it's like a part, but part can be quadrate or it can be big, and layers, they are seen, like here you can see. different layers. Or here. Because when we have pizza, pizza has different parts. And here, layers. So they are seen and they can be put one on another. So yes, on the map we can see different layers, like this, and this. And in our case, the outer layer of the brain. Let's check what is it. So outer. Outer means outside, external. Let's check the whole phrase. Outer layer of brain. We are not the first who want to see this picture. So that's it. We have different. This one is better. No. This one, because here you can see it as layers. So like they are seen like first layer, second layer, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So it's like parts, but they are seen. They are like sheets of paper. And here we have it's written that there are different layers. Or in our case, here we have different layers of the brain, like first layer, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I would say that it's parts, but they call it layers. All right. And now let's return to our task. So begin to, so some parts of the brain. So outer layer of the brain, it means just part of the brain. Let's begin to read the text, and we need to, you can see here 3 gaps, and we need to choose A, B, or C. Let's begin. Memory.
Memory takes many different forms. The broadcast, that's a broadcast
Categories.
sectors of memory are what and long term. Long term.
So the synonym of long term is, not synonym, antonym. So we have something long term and
short term.
Short term. So maybe we need to, anyway, we need to read the text till the end to decide if it's the right choice. Let's continue.
Before we can make memories, we need to perceive and process information. The part of the brain responsible for information processing and sensations is the
cerebral
cortex.
Let's read the next sentence. Specialized.
The specialized parts of the practice received inputs from our senses.
Senses. So, from what senses? B or C?
I think C.
From our senses, the outer layer of the brain? Or from our senses, smell, sound, taste, touch?
Wait, sorry. Let me see.
So specialized parts of the cortex receive inputs from our senses.
So senses. It's B.
That's right, so it's B, like sight, smell, sound, here, smell, sound, etc. And if here we had a short term, here we have smell, sound, it means that here we have the outer layer of the brain. The outer layer of the brain. Now let's see. These words give us more information. They explain us. Like here, categories of memory can be short-term and long-term. So there are two variants, like short-term or categories of memories long-term. Then the part of the brain responsible for information processing and sensations in the cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain. So the outer layer of the brain, what is it? It's the part of the brain which is responsible for information processing and sensation. So we explain the meaning of the word. And next, smell, sound, taste, touch, what is it? It's senses that play an important role, and cortex receive input from them. Some special parts of cortex, like they receive input from our senses. What concrete senses? Like smell, sound, taste, and touch. So, returning again to the text. So, definition. What's a definition? Like sense. What's the meaning of sense? It's smell.
Maybe touch something.
Yeah, that's right. So when we are touching something, when we want to hear something, to smell, so our senses. So we have 5 or 6 senses, I think, or 7. Do you remember? Let's check. Senses.